Hey crew, I've got the key to this F-150 Raptor 37, and today we're going to see what it's like to live with. Let's start with remote start. Good morning, neighbors. The startup noise from this V6 Raptor really isn't that crazy. But if it was still too much for you or those around you, you can program the truck to start with the baffles and the exhaust closed, or even program certain times of day for it to be a quiet start. Excuse me, Bluey. Let's check out the spacing of this truck in my driveway, which is 16 feet wide by 19 and a half feet long. I've got the Raptor parked an inch or two from the edge, sitting next to my 94 Toyota Land Cruiser that desperately needs a bath, and that one's parked a few inches in from the edge. And with that spacing, there is enough room to walk between the vehicles. You can see the door mirrors fold on the Raptor, but not enough space to wheel a double stroller or wagon through for my kiddos. The nose of the Raptor is jutting out over the gutter at the front of my driveway, and at the back of the truck, there's enough room to walk in front of the garage door, but not in front of the hedge along the path to my front door. So I'm going around. When first hopping inside with the key fob in my pocket, just putting my hand on the door handle unlocks the doors and unfolds the door mirrors. I could also leave the key fob locked in the truck via this keypad and then go do activities, come back and use the keypad to unlock the truck again. I can only manage one defined notch of door opening before I would touch the vehicle next to me. That does give me enough room to get in with this giant side step and the grab handle to ease my entry into the cabin. Hello cabin crew, thanks for joining for this day in the life in the Ford F-150 Raptor 37. In this video, I want to see how many different usability challenges for family and for fun I can put this truck through and how it excels or where it stumbles. Let me start by telling the truck we are good to drive by pressing on the brake and hitting the start-stop button. That takes over from the start-stop system. And now let me show you where I would stick the items I bring with me every day. Like my smartphone, this can go on the wireless charging pad. The key fob, I've already got that in the cup holder there. Inside the console, which is oh so very large. On this upper tray, I've got my wallet, and then underneath that, there's so much space. I've got my Racebox 0 to 60 timer and my GoPro accessory case and a 32-ounce water bottle that's standing straight up. That's just how much room there is inside here. And then above me, I've got my sunglasses stored in this soft-lined case to protect the lenses. So I think the storage space, goes without saying, is amazing inside the F-150 Raptor. Now, let me throw on my seatbelts and pull it back into drive. And then I'm going to release the parking brake here and roll on forward. I do have the curb ramp set up, but you know, they're really unnecessary for this truck. Am I going to clear my neighbor's 2 basketball hoops on my way out? Yes. One thing I really love about that remote start is that it gets the seat heater and the steering wheel heating going, so I warm up really quickly inside this cabin. Or if it was a hotter day, it would have the seat ventilation going to cool me off. I am going to get coffee, decaf, of course. And on my way there, I wanted to touch on some common points of interaction with the Raptor. Things like the turn signal sound. Let's listen in. A slow gallop of turn signal tones. I don't mind it. Now let's see about the turning radius here. I'm going to pull out. It is a full-size truck. Then crank the wheel. And pivot around in a reasonably tight circle. Given the 37-inch tires turning within the wheel wells, I'm good with that. Now let's say someone cuts me off in my big burly truck. How dare they? Don't they fear for their lives? Well, anyway, I'm going to use the horn, and what are they going to hear? Oh, it's so normal. I expected some level of roar. I guess I could just... Now that's not going to scare them away either. Though really, if I wanted more noise from the twin-turbo V6 via the exhaust, I would go into a different exhaust mode. Not normal. I would do either Sport or Baja for a little more theater, though this is not going to be anything close to the Raptor R and its V8. It won't bellow, it'll more groan. But I suppose that's probably a benefit to this truck for daily driving. You could even go into the quiet exhaust mode that I mentioned. And then even at part throttle, I hear just about nothing from the exhaust. I do hear some wind noise, even at these lower speeds, and some tire hum. It's not obnoxious. Gosh, it's just such a pleasant daily driver. And I certainly wouldn't expect that looking at this truck. I would think, it's got to be so tedious to drive. It's so wide, maybe it's hard to stay within the lane markings. And I have not experienced that at all, and I credit the independent front suspension and this steering system. There's not a lot of play to the rack, so only the smallest adjustment to the wheel has me directed where I want to go. And the big all-terrain tires don't tram line, so I just coast along straight. The 450 horsepower, the 510 pound-feet of torque come through via this 10-speed automatic so smoothly in the normal drive mode. You just pick up the pace gracefully, and then when it's time to go to the brakes, the feel of that pedal is excellent. I can measure it out, smoothly come to a stop, and then as I'm accelerating again, I barely discern those gear changes. And man, these seats are comfortable. These Recaro buckets hold me nicely in place, but the padding is supple. The bolstering isn't overly aggressive, and I love my driving position at 6 feet tall. I've got great adjustability to the seat itself, to the tilt and telescope of this power adjusting wheel, bring it out to right where my hands want to rest. And because you can adjust the position of the pedals, this is great for people like me with a longer torso and not as long legs. I can bring out the pedals so I don't have to be sitting right on top of the wheel to feel comfortable and at the appropriate distance from them. Or I suppose if you had long legs and a shorter torso, you could push in the pedals. And then there's the ride quality from this Fox suspension. It's tuned for off-roading, and so therefore you might think maybe the ride is a little more punishing to be able to absorb the bumps and bruises off-roading. But it's not that at all. I've got a solid rear axle, and the back end doesn't hop around over changes in the pavement. And with all that tire sidewall and the very sophisticated suspension, the blemishes in the road do absolutely nothing to me. I barely feel them. They're just little ripples. It's such a comfortable truck to drive. It's coffee time. So I'm gonna run in here to Enchanted Coffee, because who doesn't need a little enchantment in their lives? Am I right? All right, coffee has been secured. Now here's something you might wonder. How much room in an average parking spot does the Raptor 37 take up? So I got the front right tire a little bit onto the white line on this side, but it's also almost on the white line on this side. So it actually maxes out the parking space, and that means you cannot ever be sloppy with your parking job. You gotta get it as close to perfect as possible for the sake of the people parked near you. Oh, Fisker Ocean, RIP. Now getting in the truck with the coffee in hand, I'm gonna go that one defined notch, and then without using the grab handle, can still get in easy, nice. Then as for drink placement in the cup holder, does it sink too far in? No, it leaves enough of the cup above that I can easily grab it again. It did take the sheath with it. That means that it holds the cup securely though. Thumbs up. That was good. And now that I've had my decaffeinated boost, I want to see how this boosted truck does in terms of real world performance. So I've got a 0 to 60 test lined up here with my race box set up to record. I'm going to move into the sport drive mode and 4-wheel drive. And when that shift is done, I'm going to brake boost it off the line. There is no launch control. Build up the revs, let it go. Oh yeah. And there is 60 in 5.29 seconds. It's quick enough to crack a smile. I have some errands to run now. Got to get these clothes to the dry cleaners and pick up some packages from UPS. First stop, Mr. Best Cleaners. It's got the best name and the best service. So the only question is whether I can do the best parking job. I'm gonna try to back into that parking space there. And we've got some traffic going and a more restrictive environment, but a high-res camera here and trajectory lines to help me out. Thought that person was gonna swoop me for a second. About to get upset. And so as I make my way around the bed of this Tundra here, parking sensors were aggravated, but unnecessarily, because I'm gonna be just fine. With the bird's eye view, get between those lane markings, ease on back, and it's a success. To get to the laundry, ooh, stop before the door mirror, yes! We're doing well. Today I learned that your average dry cleaner cannot clean couch cushion covers, so I had to go to a specialized cleaner for that, and they told me it's actually better to clean them on the cushions. I had already removed the cushions, now we need to go home, collect all the cushions, and bring them back to that cleaner to then put the covers back on and then get them cleaned. Today has been exciting. But since that does have me on the highway for a short while, I can see about passing power as I change lanes here. Easy enough for 1 and 2. And just keeping my foot in it for fun. Well, as you can see, I've got a lot of cushions here, so I could either tie them down in the bed so they don't fly all over the place on my drive over there, or I could attempt to fit them here in the cab. Would you look at that? It fits. Yeah, it's just me, my cushions, and some compromised visibility. It would really be nice if you could get a digital rear view mirror in the F-150 Raptor to see right through all of that, but it's not an option. All right, that's one errand down. Next up, the UPS store. Turned out it wasn't a huge haul of goods. I did have a lot of loose items though, so I reconstructed this storage area so everything is contained, and the bigger piece fits like a glove. I think that deserves some lunch. So I'm gonna pop in here to Mario's Butcher Shop for a sandwich. Man, that was a long wait, but it might have been worth it, because look at this pastrami sandwich. Some people say this is the best in Orange County. Let's put that to the test. Very good. Peppery, good quality meat, but not as juicy as I would like. This is high, but not the best. Now that I've cleared out the back of the Raptor, I'm joined by Mobile Mama.
Hi.
Love you. Welcome to the Raptor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When are we getting one?
She loves this truck so much. I do too. It's really,
I
really
love
great.
the space.
Not soon, unfortunately. What's
So
it like for bigger people before we try to put small people back here? How do you feel? I mean, that seat's actually further back than this one.
Yeah, I know. So I would have plenty of leg room if this was up a bit.
Yeah.
I do wish I had a bit more thigh support.
Yeah.
Like, the seats aren't like, they're cushy.
Little upright.
Yeah.
My head does clear the roof though, just barely though. I think without the hat it'd be even better.
Right. But I think you could be comfortable in the middle seat.
Stretch out. Let's find out.
Right.
I just wanted your hand. Give me your hand.
Oh,
thank you.
Okay. And then now move over.
Oh,
Okay,
oh no.
Now move over.
No, yeah. So
Yeah. And now we have to look here.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And
If you don't have someone in the middle, which, by the way, I think briefly I could have shown, 3 full-size adults could fit in the back.
Yes.
Yeah, armrest if no one's there. Yeah, a little firm. Padding's a little firm.
Cup holders.
You have cup holders, though, yeah.
And over here, what do you have?
Heated seats for the outside passengers.
You have 2 USB-Cs.
2 of those.
And an AC.
AC, DC, AC, DC. That's not a song they sing. Thunderstruck. Thunderstruck.
Is that their song?
Yeah. You've been thunder. I'm not going to do it again.
Okay.
Okay.
Vents here, but we do wish there were some
Maybe on the sides as well. You get the
Yeah.
stuff that comes from under the seats, the air that comes from under the seats.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that. Panoramic sunroof.
Ooh, look at that.
You've got good amenities back here.
Yes.
And space. Lots of space. Enough space for car seats? Let's find out.
Wow, that was high-pitched.
It was. Ha! Thunderstruck! How'd you do?
Mine was much easier than yours.
Yeah, I had to go through 2 loops to actually get the tension there. That's the actual strap there. Then tie down the tether points, and then put in the belt. So, yeah, it takes a little work. But you know what? This is now
great.
in there. It has enough seat cushion bottom to feel like this is secure. And look at all the legroom my daughter is going to have here And then what are you gonna have in terms of legroom behind her seat? This was my driver's seat, so I didn't move this at all, so I'm comfy. Oh, and we knew this was further back than my seat, so you've got plenty of room.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good, so we can say it. The F-150 Raptor is family approved. Oh, you're a Raptor now. Ow, 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 no, my arm. It's all fun and games until someone loses an arm to a Raptor wife. But I'm gonna have to do without today because we're going on an adventure. I'm headed over to Kawasaki to pick up their new Ridge side-by-side. I will then tow that back to Mobile Mama for us to go have some fun off-road. It's fine. And there is the Ridge loaded up onto the trailer. Now we're gonna get it cinched down and head on out. Tailgaters, man, they're so annoying. This guy's been riding my bumper for like 5 miles. Sorry, it's a terrible joke. I had to make it though. In all seriousness, if I want to see what's going on with the 14-foot trailer and the Ridge on top of it behind me, I can just hit this camera button and get a clear view. All right, I got Mobile Mama in the car and she's brought coffees for us.
Matcha, 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 matcha.
She also brought her giant Yeti, which took up one of these cup holders, so I had to use one of the two that are behind.
These two
but it
here
is
in the
nice
back.
that there are extra cup holders right here. I know they're for the rear passengers, but it's also great for the front if you have additional liquids you would like to consume.
And the perfect straw holder.
Well, we are towing the Ridge right now, and just so you know, weight-wise, the trailer, this 14-footer with the gate, should be, for a utility rig, it should be around 1,500 pounds. And the Kawasaki Ridge is going to be about 2,000 pounds. So we're looking at 3,500 pounds, which is well within the 8,000 plus pounds that the Raptor can tow. I don't feel that. Really, when I accelerate, sure, there's a little bit of tug, but honestly, you just don't feel it when you're cruising along with 450 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. This is just very simple. And you can still use cool features like the adaptive cruise control and lane keep with some steering assistance. It's not the full blue cruise that you get in some other versions of the F-150, so it does require you to have your hands on the wheel, but just taking my hands off for a second, you can see it's gonna stay in the center of the lane and keep the trailer behind me also in the center of its lane. And so these are really handy if you're gonna be doing a longer drive, whether you're towing or not. Got all your safety features. I wanted to talk about cabin volume on the highway, and I'm gonna get us up to about 65 in a moment when I can change lanes, put my foot to the floor, pick up speed easily, and then set the speed here. And let's listen in to how loud it might be. Passing that big rig. Not a lot of noise entering the cabin. What do you think? Pretty quiet?
I think it's pretty quiet, yeah.
Like this would be...
Especially trailering, I'm shocked.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that around town I heard some wind noise and some tire hum. You get road noise in here, but not at a crazy level. So we can have a casual level conversation with one another.
Yes.
People in the back, maybe you need to raise your voice a little bit here on the highway, but I'm more than anything just very impressed with how this thing drives on the highway even while towing. Now, as far as visibility, normally in the Raptor I can see everything I need to out of this truck, but with the trailer on the back, of course, the rear view is blocked. You can use this camera to help out. The over the windshield view is solid even with that raised up hood. Out the side glass, tall front, tall back, and it has that lower cutout so I can see right next to the truck. The door mirrors are not towing mirrors, so they're not as tall as would be helpful with a trailer on the back, but you can make it work. You just have to adjust your position in the seat. I still have confidence with the trailer, with the Kawasaki on the back, driving around and seeing everything that I really need to. Now, Mobile Mama, what are your thoughts about this cabin? And if we were gonna take a longer drive, would you be comfortable? Would you have the features you want?
Yes, I have heated and ventilated seats, which are nice.
Great.
You have all the USB chargers and wireless charging that you could want.
Yep.
You have an AC outlet here. I like this carbon fiber. This is a nice touch.
It's a good look.
I always love some carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Storage-wise, you have lots of options. Look at this. Meow. I'm sure you've already shown that.
I haven't.
No. Oh.
The hidden secret. Well, it's not
Yeah.
that secret. You hit a button. It's right here. It's giant. Yeah.
Kind of secret. This is nice for eating.
Oh yeah, it folds
working,
out.
changing a diaper. That's great.
I don't know how often I'd be doing that in the truck, but
What do you mean?
changing a diaper in the truck, you would do that?
Of course. Don't you have kids?
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna trigger so many truck owners right now. It's great.
I like the comfort of these seats. They feel really good.
Yes.
It's nice leather and suede.
Yeah.
They hug you in the right places. It would feel good off-roading.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not gonna be off-roading this truck today. We're gonna mostly just be playing around with that, but I have off-roaded at least a couple F-150 Raptors.
Right.
35, 37, and R, and the seats are good for that. Yeah. Do you think this is a $93,500 truck worth cabin?
I mean, there are some plastics. I wouldn't say some. There are a lot of
Lots
plastics.
hard plastics.
A lot of plastics.
Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like that's most vehicles these days.
Most honestly, I was just in that Ram RHO
It's
though,
like-
and the interior
yeah.
in that was. But you're right. Convenience, features, comfort, super solid. And as much as we love to have thought-provoking, in-depth conversations, sometimes we want to listen to the sound system. And this
Yes.
truck has a good one. It's a Bang & Olufsen sound system, and I'm going to play some tunes via the wireless Apple CarPlay, which I wish took over the whole screen, just on this
Yeah.
little corner here, but at least it is pretty responsive. And so I'm going to pull up my playlist of choice and play
Toot.
some music.
Sounds like
Toot.
you. That's very fitting.
Okay. Song's better than my toots. All right, so that's like just over half volume. All right, we're like
Whoa.
60, 65.
Do you ever jam out or you just do that?
I have to mostly be chill because the head cam.
Oh, okay. Toot, toot, toot.
Don't
toot,
ruin the song,
toot,
babe.
Toot, 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 toot.
I could listen to that for a while, but I feel like I have to comment on it. That's a really solid sound system.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
I would say maybe the clarity of the lows and mids isn't super well defined, but the bass is very strong and the punch of the system is very solid. It blocks out all the outside noise, even at 65%. I would be very pleased with this for whatever type of music we wanted to listen to. Off the highway now on a windier bit of road with increasing elevation, I've moved into the tow haul mode, which locks us into four-wheel drive. It'll hold on to gears for longer, giving you more of the available torque at your disposal. And it also puts some important information about your trailer and the braking gain that you can adjust here on the left-hand side of the gauge cluster. And as I mentioned around town, this truck doesn't even feel that 3,500 pounds behind it. And so even on these winding roads, it feels so very stable, planted through the curves, and with just seemingly limitless power to lug up the hills. It's such an easy truck to tow with. All right, we've made it to our off-road spot, and I need to back up this trailer, and I would love to show you the Pro Trailer Backup Assist, which allows you to just turn this knob in the direction that you want the trailer to go, and the truck will sort out where it needs to input the steering. But I don't have the sticker that is required to go on top of the trailer for the system to calibrate, so I can't show you that, and I also couldn't show you when I first hooked up the trailer the Pro Trailer Hitch Assist, which also does the same thing. It turns the wheel for you to back up right on top of the ball. So instead, I'm gonna have to do this myself. And as you back up with the trailer, you have to turn the wheel in the opposite direction of where you want the trailer to go. So I have to keep that in mind, mentally calibrate as I do this. Thankfully, you've got all these different camera angles to help you out. When you first hooked up the trailer, you've got that view over the hitch. And then we've got this one that splits the view and shows, basically takes out the bed of the truck and just shows you where the trailer is gonna go. And so I'm gonna leave it on this one as I back up here, mostly straight here to go through these gates.
I'm glad you're doing this and not me.
And I am not the most experienced doing this.
We never
trailer. I've got my race car, and that's the only thing I've ever towed.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it weighs about the same as this, so this is all kind of par for the course here. And I can only imagine that the Pro Trailer Backup Assist would be just effortless and takes all the fear factor out of towing. Made it! All right, now to offload the ridge and go have some fun. All right, getting things going here in the ridge. Key in ignition. Fire up that 4-cylinder. Release the parking brake. Throw on my seatbelt, of course. And there's also a backup camera on this thing. So that's the forward camera. That's the reverse camera. And I'm going to slowly ease down the trailer. And once I'm clear, success! Are you ready?
Yes!
This is gonna be fun. Okay, so let's first get familiar with the features in this Ridge. This is actually the limited HVAC model, the top of the line for just under $34,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind as we're looking at the stuff. You have an HVAC unit, you've got a heater, you've got air conditioning. It's fully enclosed, including the windshield, the side glass, you've got doors, you've got power windows.
Whoa.
For me and for you. And we've got this Garmin unit in the center. I showed the front and rear camera system.
Dang.
We've got these buttons here that go through the different gauge cluster settings. And then I also have the 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive function and a locking rear differential. Here's my gear selection: high range, low range, neutral, and reverse. We've got the rear view mirror, and these speakers are for the audio system. Plenty of cup holders. You've got one there. I've got one that fits my very large metal water bottle.
That's nice.
And then 2 here in the center. Man, this is like luxury. Among side-by-sides, this is kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. Okay, let's go over a little more information about this Kawasaki Ridge. So it's a 999cc inline 4-cylinder that makes 92 horsepower and 74 pound-feet of torque. I showed you it can be rear drive, it can be all-wheel drive, and that is by a CVT transmission. And you've got a few different modes of operation. So we're right now in normal. You can go down into the work mode, and that's going to decrease the throttle response, kind of for just getting around your ranch.
Oh,
you know?
Yes.
When we own a ranch.
One
Never.
day. Never.
And then there's normal, and then you've got sport. And sport is going to increase the throttle response.
Woo!
For fun. Now, compared to normal, completely exposed side-by-sides, this is quite a bit quieter, but it's still
loud.
It's still loud. They try to reduce the vibration of the 4-cylinder by mounting it completely in rubber. But, you know, the noise of the engine is still profound. But man, the ride is so nice.
It's really smooth.
Double wishbone front and rear suspension, long travel shocks.
Wow.
13 inches of ground clearance. I think it's 13.8 inches of ground clearance. It just chugs along so merrily. You've got to try this later. It's fun.
Oh, I am.
And it's so easy to drive. I mean, it's not a huge footprint, but the steering has a little bit of play. Still easy to control this thing, and occasionally you've got to stop for the scenery, and this giant windshield and side glass makes it so it's not obstructed even though you have the enclosure. Now Kawasaki and Honda and these other side-by-side manufacturers of course have their more sport grade versions with even longer travel suspension that are meant for more aggressive off-roading. It's got some power. I'm barely even tapping into it. This thing can really move. It's stable in the curves. Doesn't feel super top heavy even with all the glass up high. Let's see how tight this turning circle is. Cranking the wheel here.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And you know what? Even if you don't clear it, you clear it anyway. Now this is great, fully enclosed. You're not gonna get wet as I splash through.
That's
Oh,
fun.
you get the effect without getting wet.
Now you need the windshield.
Oh yeah,
wiper.
windshield wipers. Clean off, please. That is awesome.
It's a little warm in here now.
Turn on the AC. Well, we've got it. Are you ready to go foot to the floor?
Launch it.
Let's go.
Whee!
50.
Oh. Whoa.
The engine sounded upset, but the ridge got moving. All right, this is a steeper grade here, so I haven't used it yet, but I'm gonna go into low range. Oh yeah, throttle is so much touchier now. Got that low end grunt. Little challenge, yes.
And it took it on.
Now this part here looks a little more challenging, so I am going to lock the differential, and I can see that that has been accomplished, so I'm gonna roll forward here. Make my way up without the fear of loss of traction to a tire that doesn't have grip. I feel the slip happening. Give it a little more, and here we go. Woohoo!
Okay. Oh, okay.
You get nervous?
Yes.
The ridge has got it.
The ridge has got it.
Yeah. To the top of the hill.
I'm on
Oh,
top
look at
of
this
the
reward.
world.
That is pretty. You know, this looks like a good spot to have a snack.
Okay. In the dump truck?
In the dump, yes, the bed dumps. I'll show you that. Okay, so check this out. This is pretty cool. So just like a pickup truck, it's got a tailgate that can come down, which will be a good spot for us to sit and enjoy a picnic with this scenery. But also, if you had something in the back like, I don't know, soil you needed to dump on the ground, you can just lift the entire bed like a dump truck. All my
cool.
kids' dreams come to life. Oh, it's also a great way to access the engine. It's right there. Look at us with our snacks and where's your sandwich?
I already ate it.
You ate your sandwich?
It was a long drive out here.
We were gonna picnic out here. This is such a much better environment to enjoy a sandwich.
Sorry, I didn't eat breakfast.
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
hungry.
Well, enjoy the, oh, we've got left. Did you eat your cookie too? She ate her cookie and her sandwich.
Oh well.
Oh well.
I'm fine.
You're still a good company.
Saddle up, partner.
Oh gosh. I'm kind of worried.
Just kidding.
High range, please.
I know.
Takes some muscle to get it into gear, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Here we go.
Here we go. Dodge the junk.
Going around. Oh, we got some bumpies.
These seats are so comfortable.
I know.
Super squishy.
Woo!
And waterproof, which is perfect because this is going to spill for sure. That's how good the suspension is. It's not spilling. Mobile Mama's going to start reviewing side by side.
You don't want to get tossed around?
Oh, that's kind of fun. Back to the Raptor!
Whee!
That was so much fun.
That was a blast.
I loved that. And now it's time to put some fuel back in this 36-gallon tank. And the EPA rates this truck at 14 mpg in the city, 18 on the highway, and 16 combined. Though if you're towing especially, that is going to cut into the fuel economy. So we've been averaging about 12.2 miles per gallon over the last couple hundred miles. So while you'd normally be getting 576 miles on a tank, we're going to be seeing 430 with this fuel economy. And at current fuel prices of $4.59 for 91 octane gas that the Raptor does require, it's going to cost me $165 to fill this tank. But there's capless fueling, saving time. Well, crew, at the beginning of this video, I pondered just how many different activities the F-150 Raptor could handle. And after quality time spent behind the wheel, I can answer that question simply. A lot. Whether it's towing big kid toys, stuffing cushions in the cabin, installing car seats, or just cruising around town, this truck is capable and comfortable. Yes, it consumes fuel in a hurry, and there are an awful lot of hard plastics for something costing over $90,000. But a giant fuel tank extends time between fill-ups, and useful convenience features do distract you from the cheaper trim pieces. Yes, the width is of course a challenge, but you can adapt and become a parking pro. I have loved living with this truck, and if you can afford it, I'm pretty sure you will too. I hope you guys have enjoyed this day in the life, and I will see you again next time.